Pilipinas. Magandang hapon, Pilipinas. Kong si fa chai. Happy Chinese New Year. Welcome everyone to our Facebook Live series for front-end developers. We will be starting in 5 minutes. So if you have any questions or you want to introduce yourself, let us know that you're here, say hi. Please jump some or throw some comments into the comment box. I'd love to see who's here. Say hello to all of you. While we do wait for 6 p.m. Philippine time, just to introduce myself, my name's Efren. I'm the CEO of Filta. For those who don't know Filta, we specialize in helping e-commerce and digital marketing agencies find great talent in the Philippines. So we're always on the hunt for really great people to showcase the best that the Philippines has to offer. So if you guys are interested in working for really cool brands on a global brands, be it US, UK, Australian, if you like a day time shift, New Zealand, please get onto filterglobal.com. Go to our careers page. We've got some really great jobs there at the moment. Mainly, we're looking for at the moment anyone who's got Shopify skills. So if you're a Shopify developer or React as well, always looking for good React people, React Node stack. So yeah, feel free to jump on our website, apply to a job, or get onto our Facebook page, speak to the guys in the group. We're trying to build a really cool community there. I know a lot of you are coming from there, being from our Front-End Philippines group there, or follow us on LinkedIn. It'd be really cool. Also, I'd love if you're logging on to share your folios with us as well. So really showcase your skills in the chat box. Actually, I should press, I'm looking at the wrong ones. Oh, here we go. There's heaps. Sorry. I've got here Renz. Hey, Renz. Sean Michael. Hey, dude. Alexander Venus. Hello, sir. ¿Cómo está? Who else do we have here? Jace Literal or Jazz. What is the topic about? We're talking about Figma tonight. It's going to be really interesting. We've got a fantastic speaker. Really looking forward to hearing about. Shout out, sir. Jean Angelo. Have I said that right? I hope so. Shout out to you, my good friend. Joshua Bulan. Hello, sir. Hey, greetings from the University of Luzon. Hello, Alyssa. That's really cool. Mary Grace, how are you? Oh, Universidad de Manila. Jean Angelo. Regine, hello. Oh, wow, there's more comments. Hello, everyone. Kent, Bryant, Rona, Jenny. Who else have we got here? Kimberly, Chris King. I like that middle name, King. Legend. What else do we have? Who else do we have here? Hazel, Job, Daniel. I think we've jumped into the presentation a little bit there, but that's cool. Jana, we've got a lot of people in here. Very excited to have you all as part of the presentation tonight. It's going to be a really good topic too. I'm super pumped about it. So yeah, it should be good. Hey, tell me, where are you guys? You mainly students or anyone kind of working? Glads, you want to shout out too? Hey, Glads, what's happening? Yeah, what are you guys doing? Who's working as a developer or who's studying? What are you guys? Love to see what you guys are doing in the comments. What else do we have? Jan Reese, greetings from UST. It's all happening there. All right, we're right on 6 o'clock. Thank you guys for jumping in the chat. That was really cool. We're going to kick this one off. This one's really exciting. like I said, the topic is about Figma. So has anyone used Figma before? Love to see in the comments if you've used Figma at all. Got a bit of a delay in the comments, so just bear with me 2 seconds. All right, I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping some of you have, oh yeah, I've got a yes. So some of you know Figma, some of you don't. For those who do, this will be really cool. For those who don't, you'll learn something really cool. We're very lucky to have this speaker on. I'm really excited about, I follow her on social media myself. I think she's fantastic. So I'm going to welcome Athena Abe. She's, or as she prefers, Atcha, sorry. So Atcha is a third-year student, like I'm sure some of you are. She's a third-year computer science student who has her own Facebook and YouTube channels to help educate people and entertain people about the new normal. We will be putting the links to her social pages in the comment section as well, so you guys can follow it. I definitely recommend you click like, subscribe, follow, share, do the whole lot, because she's got some really good content there. What we're going to do also is we're going to run some questions at the end as well. So this presentation will be all about Figma. Drop your questions in either the comments box, or if we are running Slido, I don't know if that's going to be in the comments section as well, you can put your questions in there. And then at the end, when we do the Q&A, Atcha will have time for about 3 to 5 questions to answer some of your queries about Figma or about anything she's spoken about tonight. So without further ado, let me introduce Miss Atcha to our screens. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, before we begin, I would just like to introduce what Figma is all about. So here you can see the Figma's website. So I would just like to refresh it. So Figma, according to what you are seeing in your screen right now, is where teams design together. Yes, that is truly what Figma is all about. It is a collaborative interface for graphic designers, web developers, and especially front-end developers, illustrators, and even students like me. So I started using Figma. I actually started using it last January. And I'm here to go with you through everything beginner friendly. So if you are already familiar with Sketch, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe XD, Photoshop, so it will be much easier for you to navigate through Figma. Figma is a free tool, but if you want to access the professional or pro features, you can check out their pricing here. So we have free. We have a starter, so that is the free if you would like to use Figma. So I forgot to mention that Figma is accessible in both browser and in desktop application. This also, you can use it on your Mac, Windows, and Linux. So that is, Figma is a really flexible tool to use. If you don't use it often, you can just simply open and do your project on your browser. But if you're going to do it all of the time, you can download the desktop application. As a student myself, I actually am using the educational account or professional account. So as you can see here, it is paid, but it is free for students and educators. So if you're a student like me who want to use Figma and collaborate with your team or your classmates, or if you're an educator and you would like to also introduce Figma to your students and discover and explore the different features of Figma, so you can create your account for free, but just use you will apply for the free education plan and signing in with your school email or account. So as you can see, our title for today is Figma, Unlocking Enigma for Beginners. So you are wondering what is the meaning of Enigma, and I got it for you. For those who don't know what Enigma means, according to Bing.com, Enigma means a person or thing that is mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand. And yes, Figma is really a very powerful tool, and that type of how it is powerful is that it can really integrate everything that you need, front end wise, development wise, except for the really technical terms, like technical aspect of it, like coding. It is much more on the design and development side for commonly UX UI designers. And Figma is like an enigma. It is an application that when you first see it, it's like it may seem difficult to understand. It may seem overwhelming, but that's why I am here to guide you through everything basic wise. So, as a beginner myself, I went through some tutorials, gathered all the important pieces together, and now we're going to talk about that today. Okay. So as you can see here, I am actually using the desktop application for Figma, and I created this presentation on Figma as well. So aside from it being a powerful tool for designers, illustrators, developers, designers, you can create almost anything here, like a prototype. You can do wireframing, and I made this presentation from scratch using Figma. Okay, so we're going to talk about three subtopics for today. We're going to start, of course, with the basics. So I'm going to navigate you through the interface of Figma, and then after we learn the basics, I'm going to teach you how to be more efficient, how to be 10 times faster in Figma, especially to those who are really new in using design tools. And if you aren't familiar with Sketch, if you aren't familiar with Adobe Illustrator, Adobe XD, Photoshop, etc., don't worry, because I will explain it as easy as much as possible. Easier for you to understand. And after we learn the shortcut keys, how to be more faster in Figma, of course, to save time, now I'm going to also tell you what I use. So Figma has plugins. So to also save your time, you don't have to create your icons, your designs one by one. Figma is a really collaborative tool, not only for people to create their projects, but for other applications that is integrated in Figma as well. That's why we have plugins. So if you're going to see here in the top left corner, if I pressed here, you can see here my profile. So this is what my profile looks like. And on the left part here, I have two themes. So one is a CS thesis theme. This is, I applied for the education team to use the pro features. And actually, I downloaded Figma for desktop because I really can see myself using this a lot, because we will be doing a web application for our thesis. So I created this theme. I have not yet invited my classmates, but I will teach them because they're actually interested in learning Figma. So I will help them with that. So for now, since I am doing it and exploring it on my own, I started creating my own theme. I named it Atcha, right? So if you're going to create your new theme, you just put it here. Like, let's say we're going to create a theme unlocking Enigma. For example, when you create a theme, you add your collaborators. You can skip for now. And then here, this is the part when you start what type of plan do you want. So since I applied for the education plan, it's the same with the professional plan. Same features. So it says here, for as long as you're a verified education user, which means if you have a school account, so don't miss that opportunity and that free account. So there. So I actually created projects. So the good thing about this is that it has unlimited storage. And so if you're a first timer, if you don't feel like looking at tutorials, Figma actually, when you go through your project here, they have already made a beginner's guide for you, like wireframe, the Figma basics. They also have a YouTube channel, guys. If you need a more elaborate and a more technical explanation of these things, Figma has their own YouTube channel. So Figma actually has been there for quite a long time, and they have been actually updating features for us to utilize it more efficiently. So I have already started creating a coffee shop website. Here, as you can see, I created my PowerPoint here by scratch. I also practiced my talk today, so we're going to begin. So there are two ways to create a project. One is just simply going on the top part of the screen is to click on the plus, but you can also click plus to add a new file here. So we're going to try this one on the top right part to add a new file. So as you can see, you can create a blank black canvas. You can create a preset depending on what type of mobile application that you want to use, or you can create your desktop application. The good thing about Figma is that it already has the templates ready for you. If you want to make a specific frame, it also has your different presentations. This is all the templates. You can even create a game here. So actually, this is really a powerful tool. You can create design systems, wireframing. So since we're just going to go through all the basic features. So here, if you're going to create a new project, you just click on plus, or on the one that I have mentioned a while ago, is to select the plus sign on the upper right corner, and then you can rename your file, and you can rename it any way you like the beginner, like that. And then you can also move it where you want it to be. So let's say I'm gonna put my beginner project here under the everyone at unlocking Figma. So you can create your project name, trial, let's say. And then there, you have your new project trial, and beginner is under the trial project under the theme unlocking Figma. You just select move, and it will be moved to trial project. Okay. So, but for now, I already created my file under the project beginners, under my team Atcha Rise, because I'm alone. Okay, so I already created our 3 topics for today. So first, we're going to tackle the basics. We're going to talk about the frames, shapes and text, grouping, constraints, selection and mask components, commenting, exporting, and sharing. So if you will observe, some of the features are actually what you commonly use in Illustrator, Photoshop, especially for designers and illustrators. So it won't be really hard for you to adjust, especially if you've been using these applications for a very long time. I really think that Figma is the tool you need for you to collaborate with other developers and designers as well. So that is one good thing about Figma, is that it can gather collaboration. So you don't have to give time to like export it into a file and then send it to your client or to your fellow designer or developer. So less hassle. So we're going to start with creating frames. So on the top part here, you can see the different common tools that you use. So we have here move. Actually, when you click the button below, you can see other options. We have move, scale. On the right side, you can see the shortcut keys in case you need to use it and save you less time. And next is frame and slice. Here you can discover the shapes, the pen tool, text tool, the hand tool, and comment. So I'm going to talk about those later. And yeah, let's start. So in creating a frame, you can just simply click this frame symbol here and then just drag it across your canvas. So actually the good thing about this canvas is that when you hold control, when you hold control and scroll down, you can easily see that the canvas is actually like infinite. So if you're that type of developer who needs to create, or a designer, if you need to create a very big projects, Figma has it for you. So it's actually like a very big canvas for you to work on. So here I created a frame. I just dragged it. But if I want to create a perfect frame, I just hold shift and then drag it. So as you can see, it is 224 by 224. If I let go of control, it won't really fix the same resolution of the frame. So here. So that's the difference between just simply dragging it and holding down the shift key. So like I have mentioned before, I will just highlight this frame so we will be guided on what we're talking about. So we can also add here, from what I have shown you, design templates. So you can have here phone, tablet, desktop presentation, watch. Watch here is Apple Watch. You can create also your posters, your tabloids, your letters here. In Figma, you can create your social media banners, posts, headers. So that is really a good thing here in Figma. It's like almost everything that you need is in Figma. And you can also create your Figma community icon, banner, and file cover. So you don't have to use another application just to create the specific templates that you need, or just manually search like what is the size of a phone. So example, I just want to create in a, let's say, iPhone 8. I just select it and it has it ready for me. So now we're just going to go through basic features. So let's just say this is our canvas. In order to rename it, we have two ways. You can rename it by double clicking at the top left here. So it will automatically highlight on the left panel how to rename it. So this is a frames tutorial, for example. Okay. So next up, we're going to talk about grid. So grid is actually one of the important things that developers and designers usually use. So I got you. So you just click here on your left panel, on your layers panel, or you just simply click the frame itself. And on the right panel, I will discuss everything in detail. But for now, we're going to talk about layout grid. So as you can see here, we have layout grid, and you can just simply click layout grid, or you can click the plus button. So I'm showing you the different ways you can access it. So here on the left side, you can see the layout grid settings, and then you can adjust the size. You can also select which type of grid that you want. You want the grid type columns, or you can create rows. Commonly, what I have observed from watching different tutorials is that they usually use columns. There. Okay. So next is we're going to talk about shapes. But before that, you can actually edit the color, the transparency or opaqueness, and there. You can change the color. So I like blue. There you go. Now we're done with grid. Now we're going to talk about shapes and text. I will also teach you the pen tool. And for shapes and text, here you can see here we have a different shapes: rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star. And you can also place an image. So like the frame, if you just drag any shape, it won't fix its size to a perfect square. But when you hold shift, it can easily constrain it to a perfect square. Same as the ellipse, it can create a perfect circle if you hold down shift. So that is the difference between just dragging it and holding shift. Now we have two shapes. Okay, so for the shapes, we have a fill, and then we have stroke. So these are the different properties that you can use, and you can also change its thickness. Let's say 5. Can you guys see it? Okay. There, and you can also add in effects. You can add a drop shadow. You can also change where it is placed and the color of the shadow, like that. Okay, so that is some properties that you can use in shapes and in text. So now we're just going to use this rectangle for now. Okay, now we're going to explore text. So going here, I can either drag text from what we commonly learn, and I can say here, for example, Enigma. Okay, so in terms of text, of course, we don't want for this to happen. So in order to fix that, we just go to the text properties. As you can see here on the right panel, we have different fonts. So the fonts here are, all of these are Google fonts. So you don't have to install everything one by one. So that is a good thing about Figma, and it also integrates your installed fonts on your computer. So one of the commonly used fonts is Montserrat. So we're going to use that, and just medium, and then so in order to fix this, we just use auto width. So this on the left side, and there, that's how you fix it. So another way of adding text is just simply clicking, and it will automatically fix its width. So if you don't want to go through the frustration of dragging it, you can just simply click it, so it automatically sets in auto width. So now we have two text. Next is we're going to discover the pen. So I forgot to include it here, but now I'm going to teach you about the pen tool. So one good thing about the pen tool is that, like any other pen tool, you can create and, hold shift to create a curve. I'm sorry, that's not a perfect curve. And and also an impressive feature in Figma is that you can create a vector. So I created a shape. This is actually a stroke. And then, where is it? I can create a fill. It looks like a human. There. And you can adjust it there. Okay. Now we have a vector. Oh, it's like a human. Okay. Let me just change this to white. Okay. There. Now we're done with the shapes, the pen tool, and the text tool. You can actually reuse this by exporting it as a image or a file. I'll talk about it later. Next is grouping. So we all know that we already know the shortcut keys in grouping, but I will teach you different ways to do grouping. You just click on an object that you like to group and hold shift and click on the other object, and you can either right click here and then group selection, or just simply click Control G. Then you have a group. Okay. Next is constraints. Now we're going to talk about constraints. If I select my group or any, like for example a text, you can see we have here on the right panel constraints. So what are constraints all about? Constraints are actually a way to cling the or what's the other word for cling? Like attach that object into the frame. For example, as you can see, the constraints, the default constraints are left and top. So when I resize the frame itself, it's actually connected to the top left side of the frame. So what if I wanted to go along with the frame without modifying my group or shapes or text even? So let me just put it back. Okay. So let me group the text with, okay. So what we're going to do here on the right panel, you can either select center. So this is what happens when you put everything at the center. This is what constraint will do. But if you don't want it, if you don't want the objects to change or alter in any form, you just select it and then select scale. It will adjust the frame, it will move with the frame, but it won't really do anything to, the difference here, I'm sorry. The difference here is that if you do scale, it will also modify the objects that you have constrained. Okay. Okay. So you can also select on right and center. So this is what will happen. There, right and center. Okay. In order, also in order for you to see where the constraints are, you just click on the object and you can see the broken lines and cross here. That is where the constraints are. You can just easily click here. You don't have to go to the drop down button to adjust it. You can just click it on its left side as well. Or you can select fixed position while scrolling. So it is on the center. So that's what happens when you click on the fixed. Okay. Now we're done with constraints. So actually that is a useful tool, especially when you're trying to create a responsive design. It just depends on how you constrain your object, your icon, or your illustration. Next is selection and mask. So one good thing about selection is that, for example, for text, if I select this text and this text, I can modify both and edit both through selection. So if I want to change them into a different font, let's say from Montserrat, I want them to be Roboto. So let's check it out. Roboto. Where are you? Here. So Roboto. So there. So I can easily change them. I want to change this into 15. So that is one good thing about selection. You can edit. You can edit your layers at the same time as long as they're the same. Like for example, for this vector and shape, let's try to edit them. What if I want them to, what if I both want them to have an effect? So let's try that one out. So it will both have an effect. You can have a drop shadow. Let's try, I want this to be black. So there. So you can select your layers and then edit them accordingly at the same time. So it will give you less hassle to do it one by one. So next is masks. So in order to create masks, these are the different ways to create the mask. So I will just ungroup this. Oh, I will ungroup it. Oh, let me just move this out. Can I move it out? I don't think I can. Can I? Okay, never mind. Okay, let me just separate the text from the object. Okay, that's good. Then select this and then group it. Okay, let me just say this is a mask layer and then these are the text. Okay. So for the mask, I can click on the upper part of the screen, use as mask, or right click, use as mask. So these are the many ways. That's the good thing about Figma. There are many options for you. So as you can see, you cannot definitely see the mask here because I have grouped both layers. So let me just ungroup that. Okay, so let's just use this. So as you can see, you can also change it the opposite. It depends. So for example, this one. It doesn't give any. Oh, I haven't selected it. Okay, let me select it first, guys. Okay, use as mask. So it will just do that. Or you can create, it depends on what you put the layer on top that you want to mask. So example, I want to put an image here. Okay, for it to be, you can easily visually understand it. Let me just insert a picture here. So by adding pictures, you can just simply drag it on the screen. So in here, I added a cat picture. This is a very big cat picture. Okay. Uh-oh. So I will just hold on shift. Okay. Okay. So now we're here on selections and mask. Okay, for me to put, let me just put this on top. Okay. So select that in the rectangle and select mask. So as you can see, it easily masks and I can edit where it is. So there. So let me put this vector in front, the human vector. And let me put the mask. Let me put the mask here. So, okay. Oh, that's actually good. Let me just, if you want to edit the points, you just double click and just adjust the points of your vector. So let me just adjust it. Okay. Okay. So that's what it looks like. It's like a header of some sort. Let's just imagine it that way. I want to change them both in color white. So, and then ungroup it because I'll just use one text. Okay. So, of course, we will utilize grid. That's why we put grid there. So if you want to align your layers, you just move it on your grid and it will automatically guide you. So you can see the red parts here where your grid are. So you can easily align your layers. There. So now we created the mask. Now let's move on to components. So what are components? Components are actually a really good tool to use, especially if you're developing an application that uses these icons that you usually encounter, such as buttons, arrows, navigation bars, and the like. So in order for you to refrain from making lots and lots and lots of buttons. So one good thing about a good thing about components is that you don't have to do it or duplicate it, and especially if you want to create an object, and if you want to modify them all at once. Let's say you have like 10 arrows and then you want it to edit all at once. You don't. So in order for you to not do it one by one, you just create your layer. Let's say this arrow right here that I want to make a button. I want it to be color brown, let's say. And then I will just click on done. The way I can do this is I can either select create component on the top part, or right click and select create component. So as you can see here, the arrow 1, or the, let's say, next button is called the parent component. So if you're going to create another component, you will just select this one. You can duplicate it. Okay. Let me just move it. Okay. If you're going to create a different page or another project, just go to Assets, and then you're going to see your component here. You just drag it across your projects. So you make sure that you publish your styles and components. So I will show it to you again. In order to publish your styles and components, just go to your file name. So at the right side, you're going to see a drop down arrow here, and just click on Publish Styles and Components. So what it does is it creates a library for you to be able to use it on another project as well. So the four diamonds, is the parent component, and the next one is the child component. What it means is that if I modify my arrow on the parent component, let's say I want to make it red, it will automatically change its child components. So it says here on the notification, publish your changes to your theme library. So you can manually update it by clicking on publish. So for example, I select this. Let's see what happens. I wanted to revert it back. It won't do anything because this is the child component. So anything that you modify here on your parent component will automatically affect its child components. So there. So as you can see, if I hit on publish, let's see what happens. So since I separately edited this one, it's not affected with the mother component. So it's detached from its parent. Okay, so now we're done with components. Next, we're going to tackle about commenting. Commenting is one of the collaborative features of Figma. As you can see here, I am the only one who is in my project right now, but I will be giving you an example on how we can also see other collaborators. So let me just open my account here on my browser. And let's see what happens. The internet is so slow, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, unlocking Enigma. Now I'm going to my own project in my browser. Okay. It's loading. So going back here, let's just wait for my other self to show up, to pop up here. So there. So let's say you have a team. So this is where you're going to see them. Graphic designers say that Figma is like Google Docs for them. So that is why they actually describe it as that. So you can select here, observe, and yourself. So I'm observing myself right now. And then let's say I wanted to add a comment. So I will click, let's say I want this to be small. This is too big. So I want to tell myself that this is too big. I just comment it here, and then people on your team will be notified that I just said to my team that this next arrow is too big. So the one good thing about here is that if you don't want to see the comments, so if you're working, you don't see the comments aren't visible. So the only thing that you're going to see them is when you activate comments. And on the right panel, the features of comments that you can check all of the comments or only your comments and show resolved comments. So I say I want to resolve this one, click on check, and it is a result. So 16 hours ago, I wrote that this is a component, and yes, it is a component. So you can also interact with your team here So the only downside of collaboration is that what if the designer is not usually fond with using grid, and you're the type of designer or developer that actually uses grid, so it doesn't really consider the preferences in terms of using this at the same time. So that's one of the confusions of developers, like if it's actually their personal preference if they would like I am not used to using grids. So there. You can also add your emoticons there, click on resolve, and there. So, oh no. Let's go back. Now we're done with commenting. Now I'm going to show you exporting and sharing. For exporting and sharing, you can see here at the bottom right side of the right panel is that when I click export, let's say I want to export not the text but the whole frame, or specifically this mask that I did, the mask group, I will just click on export. I can also preview what I want to export. So let's say I want to add this text. Okay, and then group it. So I want to export them. So I can actually see the preview, and I can export it into PNG, JPEG, SVG, and just like Photoshop and Illustrator. So the last part of the basics here is inspect. So as you can see here, for front-end developers like you guys, if you're going to create your wireframe or prototype here, or your icons, your logos, illustrations, you just go here on the right panel. You can see inspect. When I click on something, it will show the different properties and the CSS version. You can also check the iOS and Android version. I actually haven't transferred my creations yet in my text editor, but in my code editor. But some people say when you use the plugins for what do you call that language, so some other programming languages aren't actually accurate in terms of converting your prototypes or your creations. So, but it is actually helpful specifically for the CSS. You are guided on what colors you use, what types of property that you use. So that is actually a good thing, especially where it is positioned, how it is positioned. So yeah, that's one good thing about inspect here on Figma. So next we're going to talk about how to work 10 times faster in Figma. So we're almost done here. Don't worry, I got you. So in order to duplicate, I will just create another frame here. So there, let's just say that. And what if I want to duplicate the frame? So I just do Control D if I want to duplicate it. As simple as that. I can do copy paste. Simple as that. I can also hold on to Alt. One good thing about Alt, if I hold it, it will it's like a grid type, ruler type, for you to be able to know the width, the space of your duplicate file. So if I click on duplicate, it will automatically go to the direction that I duplicated it with. What if I duplicate it at the bottom? If I click on duplicate, it will duplicate at the bottom as well. So I'll give it another example. So it will duplicate at the bottom part as well. So that's how you can work 10 times faster. I forgot to mention, we're now at the second part of our live series today is to how to be 10 times faster in Figma. So we're going to talk about duplicate, resize frames, copy style, big nudge, hold position, layer up down, auto layout, and templates. Okay, so actually I have already talked about templates. So these are just the design templates for your phone, etc. So now we're done with duplicate. Now we're going to talk about resize. So as I have mentioned, I have another secret for you guys. So I already told you that when I hold on shift, it automatically creates this perfect square. So another option here is that I can, on the right panel, I can align them. So I can align it the left, center. So this is actually helpful. And next is that I can also adjust it by, so if you put your cursor on the side, you can, and then you drag it, it can automatically adjust it for you. So this is rotate. Let me create a diamond, and I can also adjust its radius by just simply dragging it on the left side of that property. So that's one of the fastest ways. So we're done with resizing. We're also done with resizing frames. So I already told you that when you hold on Alt, it can create the exact or same frame size. So next is copy style. I already actually mentioned it, but for copy style is that you can select both of your layers, and then as long as they have the same properties, you can edit it. So I want to change them both. Use this color. So there. I have here the copy style. Next is big nudge. So big nudge is actually really helpful if you want to move your layer. So for example, this one, I want to move it. Okay. So for example, I want to move my layer. Okay, I'm a forgetful person, so here are my notes. Okay, shift arrow, guys. Shift arrow. Shift arrow. Let me just select it. Okay, shift arrow. So as you can see, this is how big nudge works. But if you go here on your menu and go to preferences, you can actually adjust your nudge amount. For say you are working on an 8 pixel frame. So that is the big nudge 8. If you want to create it, if you want for your layer to move a pixel bigger, you can adjust it. So that is the one of the features and secrets on how to work 10 times faster. So layer up and down. So the shortcut key for layer up and down, I want to make this let's say I want to put auto layout at the very top. Oh, for example, the basics one. I want to, if you guys can see it here. For example, I want to put components at the top. So the shortcut key is Control bracket, square bracket. So Control square bracket. So as you can see here, it's actually at the top. If I want to put it at the bottom, I just click on Control Shift left square bracket. So that is if you want to do it at the very front or at the back. But if you want to do it a layer at a time, you just use Control square bracket, left or right. So left is, let me just repeat it again. Left is going down, right is going up. Okay, now we're done. Actually, we're very near at the very last part. So now we're good, done with layer up and down. Next is variance. So for variance, okay, for variance, what we're going to do is that, so I've selected my, okay, I selected my layer. So for variance, let me just check what I did for variance. Here. Okay, so this is my practice presentation. So let me just use it. This one. Let me just use this as an example. Okay. So actually, these two are actually components. So let me just resize it. Actually, let me resize the frame and adjust it. Okay. Okay, let me detach the instances. So for variance, it's okay. Let me just recall it, guys. Okay. Okay. So going back, I will actually do it again step by step. So in order for this to be a variant is that I will create them as a component. So create component and create component. There. So, I only did the, so I'm going to create this as a component and is a component. So here, if you created your layer into a component, on the right panel, you will be able to see variants. So you just click on select. So it actually creates a default one. So let me just remove this first. So what variance means is you can create your buttons or your icons into a true and false type of situation. So let me just change this one to black, to a black fill. Okay. Wait. Okay. I want it to be here. Oh, I can't. It's a different. Okay. Okay. So create component. No. Okay. Never mind. Okay. I want this as a variant. It will change like this. So let me just do it again from scratch. So what variant does is you have your default component and your variant. So let me just okay. So I will select my default. As you can see here, you can set it to default. You can rename it on your preference. or you can actually set a new value. You can, for developers, it will be easily understood for them to just simply do this as true and this one as false. So what it does is actually it creates a button when you activate it. So let me just change this fill into white and the stroke into black, and then the text into black. Okay. So I changed. That is just an example. I changed it. Okay. Let me fix this. One moment. Okay. Same here. Okay. There. So we have the property one as true and the other property as false. So for example, I will just add this component. So let me publish it first. Okay, so what if I want to add this component? So one good thing about component is that you don't have to add it all the buttons. So let's say you've created like 4 options. Let's say one is like option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. So for this example, I just created a true and false type of button. So let's say if I selected this, it can be a on and off switch. So on here on the variance, since I put it here true and false, this creates this one. So this is the function of variance. I can easily change my buttons, icons through constraint. So I don't have to manually do a lot of buttons at the same time. Okay. Now we're on auto layout. So what does auto layout mean? So on auto layout, as you can see here on the right panel, what auto layout does is actually does the constraints for you and how you want the shape to be, where you want it to be located. So I am just, let's say I'm going to do this one. I want to position the arrow on the, why is it not moving? There. So I want them to auto layout there or at the center. So it actually automatically layouts the component for you where you want it to be placed. I hope I explained it well, but like for example this one, I want to do auto layout for this component. It actually automatically layouts. So you can see the text is layout at the bottom. It actually moves it at the bottom where it is laid out. Okay. Okay, we're almost done, guys. I'm sorry if this is long. Thank you so much for your time. We're at the last part. Don't worry. So the last part is we're going to talk about the different plugins that you can use. So the plugins that I use are Able, Blobs, Iconify, Unsplash, Palette, and Remove Background. But I won't be telling you everything one by one because the other plugins aren't actually working. So one thing that is working is Able. So I will just click on plugins, click on Able. The plugin Able is actually a very good tool, especially for graphic designers, or if you are you have bad you can easily determine what is a pleasing color for your client, for the interface, for the user experience. So what Able does is if you select 2 items, it actually says if it is a pass or fail. For example, I select these texts. So it actually says, and it says AA here, it's actually good. Anyone can be able to see it. It is not doesn't hurt your eye. It's not an eye strain, an eyesore. So that is a good thing about Able. Next is the plugin Blub. So if you're having a designer's block, or you don't know how to create designs on your own, and if you want to make your presentation really cool, you just input a digit from 1 to 10, let's say 6 and 3, and then you can create blobs. So this is an example of blobs. So as you can see, a big blob here. Actually, I created my blobs. I used the blobs. So as you can see here, these are just blobs from the Blub plugin. So next is Iconify. So instead of making icons from scratch, you can just easily choose your icons from Iconify. So let's go back again to the plugins, Iconify. Okay, so it's loading. So you can search here whatever icon you want. Let's say coffee, you just drag it and then you just adjust it. So you have a coffee icon. Next is Unsplash. So Unsplash is a royalty-free plugin wherein you can add images that those owners won't sue you because it's a royalty-free. So you just select plugins, go to Unsplash, and if you need any images that are really high quality pictures, you just select Unsplash. Is it loading? Okay, it's running. So here, if you want to put an image about a plant, you can just go to Unsplash. So it's really loading slow. Okay, so here I have an image, so there. And last is palette. So like me, I'm actually having a hard time knowing the good color combination. So okay, let me just remove it, guys. Okay, so one good thing about palette is that it gives options for me if I want any color. So here, I just select anything black, and let's say I want a color palette between black and red. You can choose standard. You can choose user interface. It will give you a variety of colors that is appropriate. You can they also have different models like city photography, raise the red lantern. This actually changes from time to time. So that's actually good. And if you want to use it as your reference, you can save it and then you can put it at the top of your frame. So let me just resize it. And there. So these are the plugins that you can use in Figma. And I am actually, this is the end of my presentation. Again, thank you so much for Filta for inviting me in this series. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you so much. You can find me here on my social media accounts, and I hope to see you again soon.
All right, that was awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It was very, very cool. So Atcha, that was awesome. Thank you very much for taking the time to do that. That was really cool. Just before we jump into questions, I just want to remind everyone, if you want a high def view of that video or watch it in replay, you can either watch it on our Facebook page or go to Atcha's YouTube channel, Aliafe Abe. It's got that and some other fantastic content as well. So just in the interest of time, let's jump into some questions. I might fire some at you from here that I've seen are quite common. So what's the difference between Figma and Adobe XD, and which one's more beginner friendly?
So the difference between Figma and Adobe XD is depending on the usage of the user, specifically whether you're a designer, a developer, or you just want to simply use the basic features. So Figma differs when it comes to collaboration. And Figma is more beginner friendly compared to Adobe XD. Based on what I have been seeing, graphic designers prefer uh, Figma more than Adobe XD. It just depends on how you use it, the usability. So some say, I have actually seen the comments, some really prefer Adobe XD, maybe because they are really used to it and it helps them more compared to Figma. So it really depends on how users utilize the different tools that Figma and Adobe XD offers.
All right, cool. And for people who want to download it, it's free from figma.com, is that right?
Yes, it's free from Figma.com. It can be accessed on the browser and you can download it as a desktop application as well.
All right, cool. In respect to plugins, how did you, where do people find plugins and how do they install them?
So to find the plugins is that you go to the top left corner. I am actually on my phone right now, so I cannot really share it. You go to the uh, top left corner, so that will be the main menu. And from your profile, you can see on the main screen, we have profile, plugins, and community. So you can select on plugins and then you can see what are the top preferred plugins for you. And you can just click on the plugin that you want and you can easily install it.
All right, fantastic. And one final question, a bit more of a personal one for you. What keeps you inspired making content relating to your studies and how do you balance that workload?
What I cannot see the question. I'm sorry. So what
Oh,
keeps
no, it was just what keeps you inspired with content?
what keeps me inspired is making content is of course especially you guys, especially those who've been supporting me all throughout ever since. I am inspired and driven to make contents because you request me to make more, and that's what keeps me going. And I've been receiving feedback that my contents are helping you learn too with me, and that's what really inspires me. And I balance it with school. It is really actually a big commitment as a content creator. Uh, Juggling online classes. I'm For the students out there, we all know that online classes are hard, even if you're good at studying or not. It's really hard given the new normal. It's not called pandemic anymore, but a new normal. So I really I'm trying to survive, and the way I can balance my school and creating content and also serving different organizations is that I make videos to help people and also release my stress. So that is my motivation. Also, is creating content, and I am able to balance it by, of course, organizing my time properly. Don't forget, if you're the type of person who is actually busy or also a content creator and also a student, make sure that you manage your time well and also don't forget to give time to yourself as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Atcha. That was fantastic. And guys, don't forget to follow Atcha on her YouTube channel, Aliafe Abe. It's fantastic. And follow us on Facebook. And if you want a job, jump onto filterglobal.com/careers, or we've got a fantastic referral program coming up real soon. So keep track of our social. But again, thank you so much, Atcha. That was fantastic. We really learned a lot. And guys, feel free to follow her on YouTube, Facebook, and all the other socials. So again, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for everyone participating. You will be getting your e-certificates in the next week or so. So email will go out for that. But thanks again. Have a great weekend. Happy Chinese New Year, and see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.